Welcome to the DC Beer Show. We are at DC Beer across social media. Mike Stein, what is in your Stein?
Hey Jake, I'm actually double fisting two beers highlighting women in brewing. The first is Pink Technicolor Boots, which our good friend Lauren brewed with our good friend Fabio at Dynasty. Lauren selected the Pink Boots Hop Blend, which makes Pink Technicolor Boots a West Coast style Pilsner. It's just really hoppy and delightful. And as far as a Pilsner goes, it gives you that smooth, crisp lager finish with that hoppy bite reminiscent of, West Coast Pale Ale. I'm also having Mariana, which is a Glow, Glow, the Global Ladies of Wort collaboration from Schneule, the Berliner Weiss brewery from Berlin. It's 4.4% alcohol by volume. And this comes from Hop Cask and Wine. Go see our friend Jared up in Georgetown. You love to see it. A women-focused Pilsner from Ashburn. And Glow, the Global Ladies of Wort from Berlin, Germany. Jordan, what are you having this show?
I bet most folks are like, man, what hazy and from what delicious place. But we actually went in the opposite direction today. I wanted to shout out Soul Mega with the Rhythm and Beauty Black Lager. So, mix it up today on a nice spring Friday, or at least how I hope it feels on Friday and not rainy like it's been on Tuesday. But nevertheless, sipping the dark lager tonight. Brandy, what do you fancy? What are you having tonight?
Hi, Jordan. All of your beers sound delicious. I am actively drinking the Lost Generation. It's so pretty. This Vita, it's a Mexican style lager with Motueka hops. But right before that, I was sharing this delicious beer from Port City. And it's the Alexandria's ALX 275, the 275th anniversary IPA from Port City. I like this little sticker. You guys can't see it because you're listening to this and don't have eyes on the podcast. Hop Zuka dry hop sticker on the corner. I don't know why that caught my eye, but I love it. But yes, this IPA is fantastic. My friend Frank brought it to me, and it was just Frank's birthday. So happy birthday, Frank Chang, one of our members, DC Beer members, and dear friend. So shout out to Port City for making this lovely ALX 275 beer. Yeah,
And if
Jake.
Jake, what are you having?
Sorry.
Mike, did you want to follow up on Brandy's ALX beer?
I was so eager to thank Frank for bringing Brandy this beer. But I said, if you want to be as cool as Frank Chang, you should join us on Patreon, patreon.com/DC Beer. Come join us. Come see cool cats like Frank at members only shares. Jake, I know you'll bring something tasty to the share. What are you having this DC Beer Show?
Well, it is a bittersweet week in DC Beer Land, and to honor that, I've got here the very last bottle in existence of the 3 Stars Other Half collaboration from 2015, Ricky Rosé. One of the very first beers to come out of the 3 Stars Funkerdome, red wine barrel aged with blackberries. This beer is now almost 9 years old.
Wait. That was an Other Half collab from that. This was before I even knew about Other Half. Like, I realized that they used to do all these hype collaborations, and I used to be a member of 3 Stars. I went there all the time. I lived near where three Stars used to be. I had no idea that it was Other Half collab because Matt, the owner of Other Half,
Matt Monahan.
Monahan, thank you. He was always at 3 Stars. And that is so crazy. Looking back, that was one of my favorite fucking beers, and it was Other Half. Oh my God, I got to tell Matt.
Yeah, Matt Monahan was there with former Other Half brewer Joe Lally, who I don't know exactly where he's brewing now, but I think he's somewhere in Philadelphia. I want to say 2SP, but don't quote me on it. But for a beer that's almost 9 years old, this is really held up. A little bit of blackberry has dropped out, a little bit more acetic acid, balsamic vinegar has come on in, little less carbonation. The best time to crack this was probably like obviously in 2015. Second best would have been like 2 or 3 years ago. But I cracked this because we in DC Beerland just found out that former beer director of the Big Hunt and 3 Stars co-founder, former co-owner, Dave Coleman, passed away.
Yeah,
Sucks.
it's sad news. It sucks, Jake. There's no way about it. And you're right, Brandy. When I interviewed Matt Monahan summer before last about the closing of 3 Stars, he said it's a massive bummer. He said it sucks. He said we worked with 3 Stars before we opened Other Half, which is today DC's biggest brewery. And so, Jake, you tweeted out, what a loss this is. I know, some people that covered 3 Stars Rise, like Jessica Sidman, who writes for Washingtonian, quote tweeted you and offered condolences. And I just want to read what DC Brau, which, DC's second largest brewery, DC's oldest production brewery, said. I assume this was Brandon Skull, the founder of DC Brau. But DC Brau posted, "The fledgling days of the DC beer scene were truly magical. We were all working together to build something that didn't exist at that point in time. And Dave is forever inseparable from that magic. That is how he will always stay in our minds." So we honor a toast to Dave Coleman. If you're grieving, our hearts go out to you. We grieve with you. And we hope that his memory will be a blessing.
Here,
Cheers.
well said.
Cheers.
Cheers to Dave.
All right. We're going to do something to honor Dave this weekend, and that is we're going to go out, we're going to have some beer, and have a good time at beer events. Starting with, Mike, you know something about Germany and beer and history. What is a Frühlingsfest?
Frühlingsfest is another festival, not to be confused with Oktoberfest, not to be confused with St. Michael's Day, or St. Michael's Festival. But Frühlingsfest, I think you are talking about Aslan's Frühlingsfest. Is that correct?
That is correct. It is in Alexandria, not too far from Port City. More on them in a few.
It is not in Munich, Germany, where often Frühlingsfest takes place in Munich, Germany. So yeah, definitely a German festival in origin. But in this case, we're celebrating in Virginia, aren't we?
Yeah, and there's going to be like a ton of Virginia breweries, ton of out-of-towners. And so like if you liked resident culture during Snally, Charlestown Fermentory, Casita, Inner Voice, which is just new to the Northern Virginia market, Firestone Walker. And so that's Saturday. That should be a good time. There's also a beer fest at Dock 5 behind Union Market. District Beer Fest, Meet Me for Beers and Cheers. That's going to have some out-of-towners too. Nice to have like Thick and Thin out of Hagerstown coming in. Jordan, they do a couple hazies that are really nice Southern Hemisphere hops. They hit like at all gravities, all alcohol spectrums. I've had a good hazy from them at 5. I've had a good hazy from them at 9. Worth a stop if you're on up 70 going that way.
Yeah, sold. And also just some, I like to see some of the Frederick breweries. I think they'll be at Dock 5 as well. So definitely just check it out. It's nice to see the DMV, coming out, getting together, especially for the spring weather. And I'm so sad I missed the Maryland Craft Beer Fest as well. So awesome opportunity to catch some of those breweries if you missed them there at Union Market this Saturday.
I was so sad to miss that event. I actually haven't missed that event in several years, but I was very busy trying to paint my house. But we ended up going afterwards on Saturday to Hellbender for their last minute impromptu Save Hellbender Beer Fest. And it was slammed. The news was there. All the locals were there. All the local industry friends, even the out of town-ish industry friends came. It was a lovely time, and I think that Hellbender, met their goals. So I'm sad I missed the craft beer fest, but I'm sure I'll be there next year. There's a lot of stuff coming up too that I'm jazzed about. But first and foremost, tonight we were supposed to go visit Port City for the special beer release. We'll keep you guys updated if that's actually happening.
And now, here to talk more about that, I'm here with Port City's CEO, co-founder, Bill Butcher, and one of the brewers, Sam Terhune. Bill, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Jake.
Bill, I'm going to put the first question to you because I think this is more of a Port City-wide question. I note that you all have introduced this Brewers Cut series. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How it came to be, why now, and what you all are going to be making?
Yeah, the Brewers Cut series is it's something I'm really excited about, and I think our brewing team is excited about it as well. A few years ago, I guess at some point during COVID, we purchased a 5-barrel tank to do these experiments with. It was to be part of our barrel aging program, as well as to get this experimental brewing program going as well. So one thing led to another, and so here we are. We've got our barrel aging program up and running, and now it's time to start with the Brewers Cut series. And really the idea of it is to kind of turn the brewers loose a little bit and let them get creative and come up with small batches of different beers that we can serve just in the tasting room for people. And it can help educate the brewers and educate our customers at the tasting room. And it should be a lot of fun as well. And I think everybody's excited about it, to be brewing small batches of different types of beers that we can just put on tap in the tasting room and get people's opinions.
So, Sam, your batch is, I believe, an upcoming West Coast IPA.
Yeah, that is the plan going forward. We brewed a West Coast. Inspiration behind it being, when I got into craft beer back in the day, West Coast were everywhere. You had your Lagunitas, Sierra Nevada, your Ballast Point Sculpin, Firestone Walker. They're just kind of all over the place. Big, hoppy, citrusy beers that everybody loved. And they've kind of faded away a little bit. And I kind of was a little bit nostalgic for them. They're coming back a little bit. But I wanted to make one with Port City. And so that is what we went ahead with. Yeah.
Excellent. I mean, it's nice from my point of view. I'm more of a clear beer guy unless the beer is Apmalwit, in which case I welcome that haze. Some yeast, some wheat. For the sort of these newfangled West Coast IPAs, I've noticed the incorporation of some of the more popular hazy IPA hops.
Yeah. So for what I wanted to do, I wanted to stick pretty traditional with it. With the Brew Cut series, we are kind of taking our original recipe beers and tweaking them a little bit. So the main difference in this beer is going to be the dry hop in terms of hops. So Citra is used a lot in hazy, but it's also a traditional West Coast hop as well. So I wanted to use some Citra, Cascade, Chinook, and Strata are the hops I use in dry hop. Really hoping to bring out a lot of bright grapefruit, lemon, lime, pine, dank, just, big hoppy IPA. That's kind of what we're going for.
Cool. Are you all running this through the Hopzuka? This is the for our listeners, Port City's patented proprietary hopback system.
So unfortunately not for the vessel that we are fermenting this in. There's not a good attachment for the Hopzuka. And also just the quantities are so much smaller, from a 120 barrel fermenter versus a 5-barrel fermenter. So we were just kind of doing it the old school way. We dumped it to the top of the tank.
I think the Hopzuka would probably blow that 5-barrel tank apart.
I don't want to say that, but definitely my
Yeah, my understanding, having seen the Hopzuka, is that it is of a similar size to a 5-barrel system anyway.
I was going to say it's not that much smaller.
Right.
So, Bill, you mentioned getting a barrel aging program underway, and I've certainly noticed in the tap room there are barrel aged beers more frequently now than there were, say, this time even last year. What's that been like in terms of sourcing barrels, deciding what beers go in, when it's time to release them?
That has been a great program, and it's another program similar to the Brewers Cut series, where we've been able to hand off more responsibility to our brewers and give them special projects to work on. And so one of our brewers, Drew Shaw, has really taken this project on as his own. It's really his baby. So he's got a budget to buy barrels. He's got a budget to buy other ingredients, and he's basically got free reign over this program. And it's been a great educational opportunity for him. I think he's grown as a brewer, and certainly our customers have appreciated having the end result of what he's been able to work with available in the tasting room.
I assume that we will see Drew at the upcoming this fall Battle of the Barrel-Aged Beers.
Definitely. That's a big motivating factor for him. He did the beer, our entry last year, and he certainly is going to be front and center this year as well.
Excellent. So when I think of Port City, and when I think other people think of Port City, they view Port City as sort of a little bit more, quote unquote, buttoned up in terms of the beers that are made and released and such. But you've got a barrel-aged program, you've got a sour, you've got this Brewers Cut series. I believe the first one was a Saison, I believe. What's going on over there? Are you all okay? Like, do you blink twice?
And Sam can weigh in on this as well, but I would say yes, we are okay. And frankly, we've never been better. Our beer has never been of better quality. We've got a motivated team that is excited about the new projects that we're working on. And again, getting back to the quality, the beer has never been better. And that's something that we're always working on. We're always striving to improve our quality, to improve our brewing practices, and to make sure that we're putting out the best quality beer possible. And I think that we've been able to show that just by some of the competitions we've entered. And, I'm really proud of the results that we've had. And Sam is a huge part of that because he spends most of his time in our QC lab making sure that our beer is some of the best in the country.
Absolutely. I would say we're more known for, the optimal with the lagers, but it's definitely been a lot of fun doing these newer things. Like Bill said, bottom line is we're very dedicated to quality and excellence in our beer, which I think kind of comes through in the product that we put out. And yes, we are okay. But we've been putting a lot of time into our cobblestone sour, which is really turned out very nicely. Lead brewer Mike Benish has put a lot of work into that beer, and it's tasting great. But yeah, the Brewer Cut series has been great. The hibiscus saison was fantastic. We did the Optimal Witch, the pumpkin beer as well, which was a hit. And then the West Coast is one more step down the line of fun beers we're going to have coming out.
Jake, you heard Sam right. He did say Optimal Witch pumpkin beer.
Pumpkin beer in 2024.
Yeah. Right?
And I know that's something that you probably thought you would never see from our brewery, but actual Crystal Fraley, who is our director of quality control, it was something that she wanted to do for Halloween, and we thought it was a lot of fun. It was a cheeky little fun project that we were able to do and have it out in the tasting room around Halloween. And everybody had a lot of fun with it. We had fun graphics on the tap handles, and we'll probably do it again this fall.
When it comes to this Brewers Cut series, how do you all get together and decide what comes next? Like, is there a brewing team discussion, Sam? And so, like, do you and your colleagues, like, you talk to amongst yourselves, you, Christy, Adam, Drew, whoever, and then, then you go to Bill?
Yeah. So there have been multiple meetings about even just kind of coming up with the whole idea of the Brewer Cut series. Everybody's kind of like shooting off each other and coming up with these ideas, and then we'll sit down, and then we have kind of like an application process. Everybody comes up with their ideas, submits them, and we can't logistically be putting these out every week, so we kind of pick the ones, we vote on them, and then we move forward with the ones that we're most excited about.
Jumping back over to the Cobblestone Sour for a minute, you're using an interesting yeast that's helping to produce the lactic acid and souring the beer, yes?
Yes.
When you all decided it was time for Port City to come out with a sour, and then over the course of last winter or so, you'd see a couple iterations of this experimental sour in the tasting room. Was this planned because of the availability of that yeast? Or were you all thinking about a sour and you thought, oh, like this yeast will be a good way to do it? Or did the yeast come first? And then you thought, oh, let's build a beer around this and see what happens.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, but I believe the idea was to make it sour, and then we kind of landed on the Philly sour yeast, correct?
Yeah, we started with the concept of, okay, let's make a sour. And then it's like, well, what is it going to be? And it's not all Goza. It's different. It's just a sour beer. And that's why we're just calling it sour. But we looked at different ways of making it, whether it's a specific type of yeast or if we're going to adjust the pH. And Adam and Crystal, who is also our resident yeast scientist, they were the ones that landed on that particular strain.
Bill, you were just at CBC, were you not? The Craft Brewers
I
Conference?
was. Yes, I was.
Do you still sit on the events committee?
I am still in the events committee. Yes, there's a group of 7 of us. It's run by Nancy Johnson. It's myself, Tommy Arthur, Sam Calgione, Bill Kovaleski from Victory. And we get together quarterly and discuss ways to make the Brewers Association events better. The Great American Beer Festival, the Craft Brewers Conference. That's really the main revenue producer. It's really what helps the Brewers Association. It's their lifeline, is doing events.
Any plans to do anything a little bit closer to the East Coast, perhaps the 95 corridor?
Right now, there's not. It's really the Great American Beer Festival is being rethought for this year. And so they're breaking it up into 5 mini festivals, each one with a different experience. So one is kind of a Halloween experience. One is kind of a sports bar experience. One is going to be kind of an artist experience, kind of based on Meow Wolf in Denver. And so there's all these different concepts, but the festival has been completely rethought. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It was time to refresh that event. And I think that it's going to be a great event this year. The Brewers Association also is still in recovery mode from COVID. They still have a much smaller staff than they had pre-COVID. So they're trying to do what they were doing before with a lot fewer staff. So they've got their own set of challenges. And, you know, as everyone knows, Savor was canceled, and they're just focusing on the events that have been good revenue generators.
What do you have coming down the pike in terms of the lager series, upcoming releases beyond the West Coast IPA, which should be here, if not this week, then perhaps the week after that?
Yeah, the West Coast IPA will be out in the next couple of weeks. More information forthcoming on that. But we're really excited about our ALX 275 IPA. This is an American IPA that the city leaders of Alexandria asked us to work with them to make a special beer for the city of Alexandria's 275th birthday this year. So we were honored and certainly enthusiastic about creating a new beer for this special event. And we released it last week, and we'll be serving the beer at several events during the summer in Old Town and all around Alexandria. There's going to be a whole host of activities to celebrate the anniversary of Alexandria.
Sounds like there's a lot of a like sort of Chico-style Nutra ale yeast being thrown about Port City recently. No plans to London or Conan that up. Throw some more oats, wheat in there.
You never know what Sam's cooking up. Sam, you got?
Yeah, I don't know about all that. Well, and as far as the lager series goes as well, we do have our Keller beer getting dry hopped this week, and then we have our German Pilsner in the tank as well, which is one of my favorite beers that we make. So that'll be coming down the pike soon as well, which is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, truly for me, between the Keller beer and the Pils, the most wonderful time of the year to walk into a Virginia store and see those two.
Yeah, the Keller beer is definitely a staff favorite. It's one of our favorites, and the German Pils has also really been great over the past few years.
So what's it been like in the tap room, knowing that you have all of these exclusives there, as opposed to what's out in the grocery store, which is excellent beer, it should be said. But have you noticed a little bit more buzz and uptick in on-premise coming off of Brewer's Cut, the sour, other releases?
Yeah, definitely. The tasting room, we're having a great year in the tasting room. Like I said earlier, the beer's tasting great. We've got, the Brewer's Cut series. We've got these small lots that we're releasing. We've got a whole slate of events set up through the whole summer. We have a full-time events manager, and Julia is just packing the calendar with all kinds of great events, both in the tasting room as well as out in the trade, in our trade accounts. So yeah, it's going to be a great summer. We've got like I mentioned earlier, the 275th birthday of Alexandria, July 13th. There's a huge party down on the waterfront with fireworks, and the Alexandria Symphony Orchestra is going to play while the fireworks go off, and we'll be selling. We'll have our waterfront beer garden set up. And then the Portside Festival will be down at the Old Town Waterfront as well, June 20th and 21st. And we'll be set up selling beer and enjoying the great music the whole weekend. But yeah, the tasting room has been great. We just installed 2 Lucre faucets for our downright Pilsner, as well as our Pizza Night Amber Lager. So people are really enjoying that experience as well. So there's a lot of good stuff going on.
Excellent. Very cool. Sam and Bill, thank you so much for stopping by. Everyone in our listenership, if you think you know Port City, you probably don't. Go check them out in person.
Thanks, Jake. It's been great being with you.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Sam. Happy 275th to Alexandria. Go get yourself dry hop, blow up, all that good stuff. All right. Am I going to see anybody at Metro Bar on Sunday? I think that John at Metro Bar and I have kind of outdone ourselves with this beer list. Jordan, there's only one hazy. It's a pale ale, but it's Nelson Sauvin, Riwaka. Yeah.
Ooh.
From Blue Jacket.
Well, it's
going to be delicious.
It's
multiple
a hazy
saisons, multiple lagers. Soju.
Here's the thing, Jake. None of these beers are pasteurized. So the potential for them all to be mildly hazy is there. What I think you're getting at is Jordan is known for being an aromatic beer aficionado. It just so happens that the vast majority of these aromatic beers are pale ales, double dry hop, triple dry hopped, irresponsibly hopped, if you will.
Yes.
But the saison can be hazy. There's no harm in that. But I should give you credit, Jake, for pulling out all the stops and really getting a broad breadth of DC and DC Metro breweries for this Metro Bar event.
You know what, Mike Stein? That was a beautifully said statement. Irresponsibly hopped. I think that breweries should pay you for that little segment of words that you just spoke. I want to know several things. Jake, will you report back on how amazing this weekend's beer is going to be at Metro Bar? I will be heading up to Easton / St. Michael, so I'm going to go visit Lion Distilling and RER and Tonight probably. So I will report back on how those beers are standing up and maybe bring you guys some stuff back.
Nobody would turn down anything from the 10 Ike Sour program.
Brandy on location, bringing goodies to the DC Beer Share, please and thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. And Jake, I appreciate you still thinking of me and the hopheads for even having a hazy option. Pale ale is better than no ale, right? So that's good. But I do think and encourage people to drink more than hazies. At least try it. It's a variety of awesome craft beer out there. And I'm actually hating I want to miss the this weekend's playlist, but I'm going to go out west to the Pacific Northwest and check and make sure that the hops are growing as expected, and try some beers in Seattle. We'll report back, but make sure the Pacific Northwest is doing their job so that all the brewers are happy. But I'll miss you guys this weekend.
Jordan, I know we haven't seen you or heard you on the podcast the last few episodes, and it's because you were taking ASL classes at Streetcar 82, which I'm donning the shirt. How did those go? How did your ASL classes go at Streetcar?
They were awesome. They were awesome. I've actually considered, because there's $50 for 4 classes. So just imagine $50 a month. Imagine what you pay for Netflix, but you can learn ASL. So and also have craft beer and support a local brewery. So it's really an awesome gig. I mean, have a food truck is really dope. So I would encourage other folks, just like you did, Brandy. Like I would encourage other folks to check out ASL courses, and also just check out Streetcar 82 because the beer was phenomenal. And I wasn't just drinking hazies, for the record, but JoJo was delicious. That is the hazy I had when I was enjoying myself. But yeah, awesome beers, and shout out to Streetcar 82 for sure.
All right, folks. I think that's what we've got for this week's episode. The next episode after this is going to be a special one indeed, because it's going to be episode 100 of us on the DC Beer Show.
We got to shout out our amazing producer and Papa Beer.
Producer extraordinaire, Richard, for putting together a brilliant episode. And with 100 episodes, we have to honor, like Memorial Day, all of the countless hours cut on the cutting room floor that Richard has spent making us sound brilliant and not like the super nerds we are, and all of the other brilliant things on the cutting room floor. Thank you, producer extraordinaire, Richard.
Thanks, Richard. Oh, and thanks, Reese.
All right, folks, we are at DC Beer across the socials, dcbeer.com/Patreon if you'd like to support us, and we'd love for you to do so. Be excellent to each other. Tell your loved ones you love them. Keep it 100. All right, thanks, everybody.